What is up, everybody? A great small step towards sustainability is making your own homemade plant-based milk. Now, maybe you're lactose intolerant or looking for a smaller footprint on the environment, and if so, a great choice is actually coconut milk. Now, the reason for this is coconut is a perennial crop and that produces coconuts year-round. It requires very little to no irrigation because it's generally grown in a climate where there's plenty of rainfall and it's rarely, if ever, sprayed. So coconut in those ways often beats out a lot of your other plant-based milks when it comes to sustainable alternatives and life cycle assessment of the product. And generally, one bag of 8-ounce coconut shreds with no sugar, no preservatives, nothing added to it will make 1/2 gallon of milk. Now, if you live far from the tropics, say your coconuts were grown in the Dominican Republic and you live in Canada, well, the transportation CO2 to get the coconut shreds to you is probably going to equal its own weight in the 1/2 gallon of milk itself. Even further if it's shipped around the world. But this is common already if you're shipping, whether it's actual milk over maybe across a country because you're shipping the entire weight of the material, it's far heavier, or if you're shipping plant-based milks or substrates all over. But let's get into how we actually make it. So what we're gonna need and how I do it is a bag of coconut shreds. Now you can, here it is, use a coconut, but it's gonna be a lot more labor intensive for you. If you live far from a place where coconuts are grown, it's heavier than the thing of shreds. It is more environmentally friendly when we look at the fact that, less labor to produce it and, there's no plastic. So that is a great option if you're willing to put in the extra work. But if you're looking for something cheap, something easy, the bag is a great option. So what you're gonna do is take a blender and pour in. Usually I do 1/2 the bag at a time, or approximately there, because I don't have a large enough blender to fit all of my water at once. So I'll put that in. Now I've got warm water. I'm gonna be handling the strainer with my hand, so I don't want something that's super hot that would burn me. Did that once, it was not fun. I had to wait for it to cool down. I'm gonna fill this up most of the way, not all the way. I've got some water left and some coconut shreds left. All right, so I'm gonna blend this up and get back to you. All right, so I've got my blended coconut milk with shreds. I gotta get this lid off. All right. It should be nice, creamy, and frothy. And then I've got like the most low-tech way to filter this thing. I've got a plain white cotton t-shirt. You could use cheesecloth. I used to use a French press actually, but that's even smaller batches. We gotta separate the coconut shreds from the coconut milk. So I'm gonna just pour this into a big pot. I've got a Dutch oven here. And then set that off to the side while I get the final batch going and repeat. All right, once everything's poured in, it's super easy. We're just gonna find the lowest parts because usually those can slip from your grasp. Gather up the rest of it. And be sure if you're using a t-shirt, a clean t-shirt for this, that you do cotton and not polyester. You don't want a bunch of plastic fibers in your coconut milk or any of your milks. So yeah, really avoid polyester fabrics or rayon or any of those others. Really go for a natural fiber. And white, because then no dyes end up in my milk. Although, I guess if you used a brown shirt, maybe you could get chocolate milk that is not at all chocolatey. That'd be pretty nasty, but don't do that at home. All right, so I'm just twisting and squeezing, milking the shirt. Now, one of the great things about coconut milk is you get 3 products from it. You get the shredded coconut bits, which I don't have, they're in the fridge actually. Just the leftover shredded coconut bits that you can add to recipes for a slight coconutty flavor. And once this is put into the fridge, it will actually, a lot of the fats that are not water soluble will float to the top and make like a film crust type deal. And you can come in with a spoon or a fork or a knife, gather all of that up, and you can heat it on stovetop, make homemade coconut oil, but you're gonna get a very small amount. The better thing to do is put it in a jar, and you have coconut butter. It works as a great spread on top of toast or on top of anything you want coconut butter on. So 3 products plus, the milk's the third one, so 3 products out of 1 process. It's a great win-win. I'm gonna stick this in the fridge, separate that out, and that's gonna be the end of the process. I'll then add it to this. If I added it right away, then that crust would form of all that coconut butter, and I'd have to get it out of the container. So you wanna cool it before you put it in its final pour container, unless you can easily get stuff out of that. So guys, that is coconut milk made at home. I'm gonna leave a lot more information on the sustainability of coconut milk itself in the description to this video. So if you're interested in a more in-depth read, check that out below. Otherwise, stay tuned for more videos coming your way.